Before we get started today, we got a special guest in this powerhouse studio. Bill Wilson, Scott Lumley, Chad Williams. You really need to tune in because I know all of you peeps. Brad, I called you this morning, by the way. It went straight to the voicemail. David Criswell, I need to call you as well. All the people that's getting on here. Tom Love, I was going to give you a special shout out. The man that invented the EOS is donating to our cause. We need to make sure. Wow. And that is so powerful because I'm telling people what I believe and it's helping us get money. Tom Love, you do not know how many people you're impacting because Michael Bird's going around saying he discovered it. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Tom, it's the EOS is so powerful. But I'm going to give you credit a little bit later on today. I want you to know how much I appreciate you. But Jim McCarthy is in this studio today.
Yes.
I'm over here. David, studio. Why are you on his? And
it's like battle of the live feeds.
So Jim, tell everybody your background, what you've done.
Man, I've been in radio since 1996. I have it, but I'm not in radio anymore. But basically, I just sunk my teeth into radio since 1996, learned all about marketing and branding, voiceover, all that kind of stuff. I probably wrote and produced campaigns for thousands and voiced of different businesses, a whole myriad, especially the auto industry, oddly enough. But did a lot of that and just started, really, I was in there till about 2013 in radio. And then oddly enough, went into the car business.
What'd you do in the car? Did you sell cars?
I sold cars. I sold Honda for a couple months, and I sold Mercedes for about 2 years or so.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, people on your side can see if I'm starting to sweat.
Well, so. you have more viewers than I do, which is not surprising.
We're in a contest. So, you were telling Kathleen when I walked in here, Brittany Renee's on here, Carrie Ann Sear, What's Shaking Jamie's.
Carrie Ann Sear.
Tell me this. You have been around some mega stars.
Well, in Vegas, yeah. I mean, it's when I worked in Las Vegas.
But I'm telling you, what kind of proximity did you have to Imus?
Oh, Imus? Never met Imus.
Donna, but I mean, you were in the business during this time, correct?
Yeah. Well, he was. He kind of got snagged with his fiasco that he had in the millennium, and he got booted off of CBS because of a comment that he made, and he over apologized for it, in my opinion. But I mean,
nappy-headed women comment.
Yeah. And
that was cool.
Yeah, that was kind of one of those things. You mean, dude,
you shouldn't have said that.
Howard Stern was another one that basically, I've worked with his cast, putting the show on at the Hard Rock, when he did it at the Hard Rock in Vegas. So typically just, but a lot of different people who came through Vegas, we worked with a lot of them.
Okay. So hey, this is my show, The Morning Grind with GTT.
Your show.
This is my show, but today I'm really going to ask you some questions because if these people are watching, the reason why they're probably watching is because they've got some sort of an interest in helping their own social media brand.
Yes.
That's why you're watching Tammy Jeffers. I know that's why you're watching Heather White. There's part of you that wants to do this. Mm-hmm. Or there's a reason why you're doing this. So I jokingly come out and tell everybody I'm a narcissist. Tommy Santel, can't wait to hang out.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I'm being kind of funny, but I think everybody... Hey,
let's try to reconnect.
You might have to, send them all over my house. I think a lot of people really, really struggle if they can be honest that things can't turn me up anyway. Are you in there with Tidwell? He won't mind. A lot of people can't get through their own perspective. So therefore, I believe they are selfish. Do you agree or disagree?
In terms of putting themselves out there first?
I think just in point of view in their normal life.
I think the perspective to have and what everybody needs to think about is putting out the value first. They need to...
I'm sorry, I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm just saying naturally I think that's what we do.
They think it's all about them.
I think it's...
Initially.
Yeah.
And that's natural because even in radio, when you did an air shift, if you started making it about you early on, and that's the thing Howard Stern did. He over his years in the 80s and everything, he still built up the equity and the momentum of creating the show, and because of what he said, it became attributed to him, okay? What he was building over the years became attributed to him, then it became more about him. He became a mega celebrity, but he still had to have the value being brought forth to keep people listening. Whenever you hear a podcast, a radio show, someone speaking, and in the first 5-10 minutes, if it doesn't hit me with any sort of value in the first 5-10 minutes, I'm done. Okay.
Well, how do we give that value? How do we do that?
You have to research and reverse engineer what is of value for people to be listening to. That's what's going to be interesting for them. It is so far less about us. It is more about what comes and pours out of our mouth, about our experience, your story, and how you basically climbed out of the, how you got to where you are now is inspiring to people. That's the value play.
Okay, so I'm going to be very vulnerable because I'm not looking to ever protect my emotions, my feelings. I want to know the truth. So if you're watching me, what do you feel like I do right? What do you feel like I do wrong? And I want you to be 100% honest.
I mean, a lot of what you're doing is offering value. You want to bring... I see you bring a lot of value nuggets to the table, reverse engineering micro topics when it comes to real estate and teaching people about branding and marketing based on the knowledge you've gained over the years. I mean, other than structural and formatics and things of that nature to really make this into a show, you have the genes of being a host. Okay, that's.
Can we say that again?
Can we replay that over and over again?
You absolutely do. I mean, and that's one of the things as a program director in radio. If we still have real program directors out there that actually nurture and develop talent, which is rare nowadays, the thing is that, and this is a conversation I had with somebody yesterday. We need every time you put something out, you need to be listening to it. You need to be watching it and studying how you come off. And self-coaching yourself or have somebody else taking notes on it. For you yourself, I think you bring a lot to the table. You are authentic. A lot of people are afraid to put that out there. That's okay. So you're already 90 miles ahead of the pack. And you just got to keep on doing what you're doing.
What do I do wrong? Come on, there's got to be something that I'm not doing. There's only 15 people on here. Why is there not 1,500 people on here?
It's just keep on plugging away. It takes time. Time and patience, man. That's always the game. And as soon as you start, wanting for more, getting desperate for that kind of stuff, it just takes time for people to know you. And you keep on doing what you're doing, identifying, listening back, and finding the commonality and the threads in what you're talking about. What is the big idea behind Good Time Tommy? You know what I mean? What you're doing wrong, honestly, I can't think of anything right now. I think maybe just structural stuff, that can be worked on. Everything can be developed.
Right. So what I don't do, surprisingly, as a narcissist, is I don't go back and watch my stuff.
Right.
Now, Brittany thinks she'll catch me watching my stuff, but I really don't.
I think it's vitally important.
Now, I will say this. Tom Love, hey, thank you for getting on here, friend. Mr. EOS, you mean so much to so many people, especially in the Monster Nation. You're changing the way we sell, and thank you for that donation. We're going to reach out to you today to get that, so I really want you to know how much I appreciate you and your helping. My cousin-in-law, Nigel Capadia, thank you for getting on here. Is this something I'm doing wrong? I've got ADD, and when I see somebody on here, I want to say, hey, Misty.
That's okay. You're engaging them.
No, I like it because
You're engaging them.
But what about the people like, damn, you're all over the place, dude. 1 minute you're here, then you're there.
That's the structure part of it. But I mean, even Opie and Anthony, if you listen to them, they would go down rabbit holes and they would have ADD moments and shiny object moments all the time. Sometimes that's how the natural flow of the conversation goes.
Well, for me, if somebody gets on, I got all these cameras in here. There's
we got one there, we got one there.
So I really, really appreciate it if somebody takes their time to watch me, and I feel like I want to acknowledge. I want you to know how much I appreciate you. So am I coming across less authentic if it's just, hey, Jason, how you doing? Or do I need to go deeper, or do I need to stay on task with what I'm talking about?
I'm a big fan of authentic, natural flowing conversation, stream of consciousness. I think that when you start talking naturally to somebody, I can tell you right now, you're very camera-centric, but you and I are having a conversation, so we should be looking at each other.
See, you brought that up. Now, every morning there's two guys that sit beside me. That's part of me being a narcissist. I want to look at myself. Right now, here's what I'm thinking. I don't know what all you said. I've got bits and pieces. I want to know how fat I look to your people over there.
Buddy, look at my mug.
See, so that's...
I look like fat Bruce Willis.
I need to... You do look like you remind me of Bruce Willis.
I know. It's my father, too.
That's true.
So I really need to get better at being with who I'm with. That is a really, and people take that as I don't care about them, but there's a lot of crazy, nervous ass energy going on in me. I hear voices.
Here are the 3 key elements of a morning show, a successful morning show.
Oh, this is some good nuggets right here.
On radio, that when it was done the right way, and still done the right way in several different markets, you have the bus driver, which is you. You're the host of the show.
Wheels on the bus go
You have
round.
the second chair, which is probably one of you guys that kind of adds flavor and you bounce things off of.
Actually, it's probably her.
Or Brittany, for Straight from the Gut.
Brittany's definitely.
Brittany, absolutely.
Brittany needs to come side by side because you have her behind.
It's hard to fit us both. My ego is so
We might
big,
need to, like,
I can't get her on the camera. She constantly complains because, and I'm not going to lose you, Jim. Well, I'm the bus driver. But happy birthday, David, by the way. I do know that she complains, she probably feels left out because even when she doesn't say anything, hey, James Peeler, what's shaking, buddy? The fact that she's sitting right beside me gives me confidence. I get confidence when you're in here. You know, sometimes
Well, you're talking to somebody.
Yeah, well, I feel better about what I'm saying having Brittany. So she helps me even if she doesn't say anything. And a lot of times she'll want to say something and she can tell, like what you just said about I'm not looking at her, I'm not paying attention. I'm thinking about how can I outshine her. I'm thinking about how can I be the greatest. That's a problem. And that's why I always say I'm a narcissist. So, hey, starts with the bus driver, then the second chair.
Second chair is the one who you're kind of bouncing most of your stuff off of. Third chair is typically the antagonist.
Weatherman.
Right. You know, I disagree, or I'm gonna throw something into the conversation that really sparks it and makes it interesting. You know, if you look at, again, the Howard Stern show, he's the bus driver, he's the main focus. Robin's the second chair, and Fred, you know, back in the day, Jackie Martling was the third chair. They were the writers, and now I'm not even sure who's in Jackie.
Man, that is good. That is brilliant content right there, buddy. Every morning, I wake up at what time?
4:40.
I'm leaving to go to the gym at 5:32 to 5:36, somewhere in that. And I listen to Pro Football Talk. And you've got what you're saying. Mike Floria, he does the show, and it's him and somebody else, but he's always jabbing at somebody. They're always jabbing back and forth. Weatherman is a natural contrarian where he'll just disagree with me. Scott Abernathy's another guy. So we need to have. So does the show get more interesting if there's somebody that?
Because then you know the people become flies on the wall, and now they can interact. And basically, when people are commenting, it's their version of inbound phone calls. Okay, so as your show grows, you can even take phone numbers and call people. That's the next level of what you're doing.
So Brittany Renee needs to become contrarian. Cousin Charlie's always going to agree with me for some reason.
Cousin Charlie's the Robin.
Yeah, you're the greatest.
Yes,
He probably goes behind my back talking to his wife. Man, this guy is such a.
I tell you how, Robin.
But everybody, if you really want to learn more about how you should position yourself on social media, you should follow me. I'm just kidding.
Absolutely.
You should follow my buddy Jim.
Oh, thank you.
Because he gives out a lot of pointers. That's what you're doing. You're telling people how to do this. Because Gary Vee says this, and I agree 100%. Most every single person does it wrong. Do you agree with that?
I think he's got so much lead up time and figuring it out that he understands the nature of our culture. Okay, and you've heard me talk about pendulum before. We are heading into a we zenith in society. Okay,
explain what that means to all my people.
Pendulum is a theory of a 40-year swing. We go from a me to a 40-year swing into a we, and we're heading into 2023, the zenith of a we. Okay, which means that basically our culture is becoming more we-centric. It's me is I've come, I've conquered, I've seen, I saw, I came, I saw, I conquered. We is I came, I saw, I concur. Okay, it's
so
more of a group.
I'm a dum-dum. I'll give an example. Would you say Cardone is an example of a me?
Yes, without hesitation.
So he wants to show all of his stuff. Look at me.
Yes.
I got my jet. I got my houses. Yes. I do this.
And it is still a groupthink mentality, but I think there's much more equity right now in. Gary Vee is all about DNA, self-awareness, finding out who you are and doubling down on that 18 hours a day, so on and so forth, and expanding upon what it is you are placed on this planet to do. Okay? Because if you don't, you will be haunted if you don't do what you were put on this planet to do.
What if, okay, I read something, I was watching this podcast by Andy Frisella, and he says a lot of people are looking for who they are versus going out and creating who you are. What do you think about that?
There are people that know exactly what their DNA is, and there are people that will probably spend their entire lives trying to figure out what that is. That's an unfortunate thing.
Wi-Fi.
I know.
Hey, well,
Hey,
yeah.
Brittany joined over here.
What the? Well, you still have more. You still have more viewers than I. I'm hovering at 4. You got.
Brittany Renee, what are you doing over there? What's going on over there?
Okay, but the thing is that let me ask you this. Here's something that
Ask me anything.
What do you marinate your mind in?
Self-improvement.
Self-improvement. What do you listen to?
Sales,
Do you
Cardano.
do you constantly? But do you expand beyond that? Do you listen to other people? I will give one massive tidbit of information and value here. Monday Morning Memo by the Wizard of Ads. Okay, write that down.
The Wizard Ronnie Martin.
Wizard of
and
Ads.
David Estes, Danny Page. Thank you for joining the morning grind. Can't do this show without you guys.
The guy. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
The guy who wrote who wrote Pendulum, who wrote the Wizard of Ads trilogy, does the Monday Morning Memo, and it's just chock full of value every Monday morning, right to your iTunes, to your inbox. It's amazing stuff, like next level stuff. Real
Cousin
simple.
Charlie, you haven't said anything. Would you like to say something?
What is going on, man?
Yeah, Cousin
Camera,
Charlie.
look at
He's off camera, man.
Guns pointed at you. Cousin Charlie, what would you like to say?
No, I'm just sitting here soaking everything up.
What are
Let me
you
ask you this,
soaking
can you do too much?
Yeah. I think
is there
so.
a breaking
Hell
point?
no, you can't do too much.
We're all human.
Right.
I feel like I've had opportunities brought to me and like, hey, all you got to do this. I'm like, oh yeah, let me just add another spinning plate. It's after a while there's only so much you can do.
To where you're good, but you do so much, you're not near.
Yeah, I think you're
Too much.
shotgunning at that point.
Right.
You're not exactly, your focus isn't. The more powerful your brand is proportionate to the focus you have. Okay, I know what my wheelhouse is. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just kidding. On the wave over there. Get him back over there. Get Cousin Charlie. I want a rebuttal, Cousin Charlie. Though.
Go ahead.
No, you keep going. I'm
but
sorry.
you were saying something good.
Go ahead.
I interrupt. It's hard to do. Show me because I'm a selfish. self-centered. Go ahead. What were you saying?
It was good. I can't remember what.
That happens to me too. What are you saying?
He asked. He
Can
really
you do
wants to
too
know.
much?
you do
Can you
too
do
much?
too much?
To where you kind of water down what you're.
Yeah,
what you're doing.
I mean, I own half of an LED lighting installation business, and a lot of people look at what my wheelhouse is, and they say, "But you're over here doing this." And I said, "Yeah, because I see tremendous potential, and I got a great business partner who, that's his full-time gig."
I think what he's asking is post too much. Can you,
Oh, you mean like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can you
Can you
post
put too
too
much?
much stuff?
Never. Are you trying to get rid of it?
No.
No, I think when all of your posts have a value content to it,
Right.
a value piece to it, and what's in it for them, being them centric.
So as long as you're putting out good value, you think.
Yeah, as long if you have something to say that's worthwhile,
Right.
and people are going to get value from it, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is that I probably violate the rule of not posting enough.
Really? Okay.
Because I want to make sure I have something to say.
Right.
Always.
Here's what I want to say. Cousin Charlie, for you people that weren't listening to Cousin Charlie over there, J Cash, the best auctioneer out there, what's shaking, he's asking, can you post too much? Because a lot of the people I know say, dude, you post too much shit. You post way too much over and over and over again. And here's my belief on that. I believe it's so hard to catch people's attention. It's so hard to do that. Now, I do not want to put out there weak stuff. I want to put good stuff out there, but I probably do at times just say push this out there because I don't care what we put out. The only thing I probably wouldn't want Kathleen to do is post a picture of me where I look fat because I'm a narcissist. My vanity. I don't want the audience to know how fat I really am.
You know what makes you look less fat? Upper angles.
Ooh.
So tomorrow we'll probably be
It'll be up in the corner. Put my phone in the corner.
Hey, Carrie Ann and Roy Fraser jumped ship. They're on it.
Well, you still have 11. I've only got 3.
Where's my loyal? So every day, I don't think people understand how hard it is to come on every single day.
Oh my gosh.
And have something to say. And the way I do this is I'm always reading, I'm always listening to podcasts, or a lot of times I'm taking life experiences and I'm just talking about my point of view. I mean, that's really what I want to do.
See, the thing that you're absolutely right on that, and people think that doing a radio show or show like what you're doing is easy. It is not. Okay, imagine doing this 4 hours at a time every day.
I'd like to have callers. I wish somebody could call in and ask.
You could actually put that speakerphone and have people put their phone numbers up there, or give that number out and put it on speakerphone and take calls. It's not hard.
That's a good idea. Starting tomorrow, or hey, if anybody wants us to call you, somebody, I can't tell, that's just asking if I want to tag somebody, but
yeah.
Coming soon, we're going to start calling people and we'll let them ask their question. That's a great idea.
Got a question, but Cousin Charlie put it up there. So let's see if the phone starts.
Let's call.
He's watching on my feed.
I need to reach out to Dave.
Got a question? Yeah, somebody's got a question. But I think we've been going over our 15-minute limit. I don't like to bore people. But everybody that's been on here, Phil Griffin, Tommy Sintel, Jimmy Turner, what's up? I appreciate everybody being on here. Do you have any questions for Jimmy over here? You need to follow Jim McCarthy. He's been around a lot of people. He's been doing this a long time, and he understands be them centric.
Yes.
What does that mean to Jimmy Turner? What does that mean to other people?
It's so much less about you and more about them. And when it comes to followers, your coworkers, Vaynerchuk talks about 51-49. It's giving without expectation, having empathy, and having the not the IQ but the EQ to go through situations with understanding of emotion.
Hey, can you explain EQ?
IQ is definitely it's like book smarts versus street smarts, I would say, in a sense. I would think that your EQ is understanding, again, that psychology of the culture we're going into, that give, constantly giving, like what you're doing. All this is giving and building your brand.
Or do people think I'm just being narcissistic, getting up here?
No, I think you give. I do it every time I see you come on. I want to watch.
Okay, hey, before Phil Griffin has given you a big compliment.
Okay.
He's trying to get you, he said you're awesome. Get him to do my 10X video voiceover. Hey, I'm out of money.
Voiceover.
I count it.
I gotta your little branding video you put out yesterday. I gotta.
You know what? We do need to do more of those kind of videos.
Yeah.
Actually, Robert Sislow did that video from Grant Cardone.
I recognize his voice.
Yeah.
It wasn't mine.
I was. Well, moving forward, maybe we can do things like that. But let me ask you this: do people need to hear my voice in those videos?
You've got a good voice.
I got a span. You can't understand a word I'm saying. I'm so southern and lazy.
That's okay, but it's
maybe
you.
that might sell to our Rutherford County.
Straight from the gut. Here's Good Time Tommy.
Pizza.
Starting now.
And straight from the stage, Brittany Renee. We do need
What did
to
Phil
do.
say?
See,
I'm going to talk about the one you did yesterday. That's the one. Yeah, the one you put out.
Yeah, we put that out.
Sislo does a great job, man. But he knows, and I know that I could voice that stuff. I need to get in there. I'm doing Cardone's all of his podcast intros. So
Do you? Hey, this guy's been. He does Grand. We should have introduced you that way.
I
Yeah.
know.
You do Grand. So if you're listening to Cardone's podcast, this is the voice. This guy's actually famous.
the Cardone Zone.
Ooh.
I'm getting some callers.
Is that a buzz? Is that a caller?
He's on the call, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, hey,
Wow.
before we wrap it up, today was really cool.
Cool.
And I appreciate, here's what I appreciate from you, buddy, is I believe you lead with honesty.
I try to.
And I appreciate that because I do not want people to say I'm the greatest
You know why?
unless they mean it.
And you and I are about the same age. You get to a point in life where you just don't care. You just say what's on your mind. Okay, and it's funny because getting back to Howard Stern, that's how he started building his brand. Mm-hmm. If he had a gate in his mind that was up, don't say that, he would consciously remove the gate and it would just come out. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, he started building an audience.
How much can I get away with saying? Dan Alexander, what's up, buddy? How much can I get away with saying, in the Bible Belt, if I wanted to say something? You gotta be true to you.
Moving in from, so
I don't cuss a lot. Do I cuss a lot?
It's like one or two words.
I'm talking about walking down the hall. Do you hear me with bad language? I don't really. I mean, I'm very transparent. You know, I saw somebody in the gym this morning about how I always pee on the floor at home and here at the office. See, I'm getting better at that habit.
Some of these guys cuss like they're using the and like.
Yeah, you're not like Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
Or Vaynerchuk. Oh my gosh.
I don't really curse.
You know what it is? It's like some of these guys, and it's funny, when you hear Vaynerchuk interact with other people, they start swearing like he does. They start mirroring him. And it's like,
He came back from Vegas.
and it's so funny because they all swear like they're new at it.
Right. But I feel like it's authentic. Then I'm like, ooh,
I feel like it's they're trying to they're putting a front.
Yeah. I that's the one thing I pick up is they're saying it to get your attention.
Yeah.
And they keep saying it to where it doesn't even sound like it's a normal conversation. Like if you ever listen to Tim Grover, the guy that wrote Relentless, and he was Michael Jordan's personal trainer, all he says is the F-bomb. I mean, he may say a couple other curse words, but it's really just dropping F-bombs. But one day, could you ever sit to where, Clay Travis, do you listen to him? Do you know who
I
he
don't.
is? Man, his podcast, he's on Facebook, and his language, he says whatever. So, how far can we push that around here to where people are offended by it?
Well, on Facebook, I think you have to be 16 or 18 to even have a Facebook account. So
Really? Yeah.
I think you can say what you want. It's just
Here's the
you
deal.
have to remember who your clientele is.
And I can't believe how much I'm invoking Howard Stern here. But there's a scene in Private Parts, his movie, where, and this is an actual true story, in Washington. Okay, when he started doing his thing and really letting his flag fly. Okay, he had the program director and the sales managers were going nuts because they were losing clientele, but yet they were gaining clientele that they were chasing for a while. All of a sudden, they had an interest in advertising. Okay, so the ratings came out. The ratings were going through the roof, and they were like, well, how can we explain this, right? They said, well, don't people not like this? And that's the funny thing. You know, the people that like him listen for 2 hours. Reason most commonly given, they want to hear what he'll say next. Well, what about the people who don't like him? That's the funny thing. They listen for 3 hours. Reason most commonly given, I want to hear what he'll say next. When you plant that flag in the soil and you start speaking your truths, that's when you either stand for something or you fall for anything. You know, that's the old adage. You know, if you believe something and you speak it, well, you can do it with tact and couth. You don't have to swear. But I mean, if you believe something and you do that, you talk about that, you put your
On
truths.
a scale from 0 to 10, how controversial would you say I am?
I don't think so.
On Murfreesboro, Tennessee,
I think you're just out there.
6. So I need to get out there a little more.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
You know, do your shows topless.
I gotta lose some weight. I gotta lose some weight, and Brittany's gotta shave me before I start.
That would be funny if she shaved you while you were doing a show.
I would let her do it, but I'm too fat. You know, I can't do it. I'm too fat for people to see how fat I am. I'm too hairy right now. So
Oh, dude.
You know what, though? That would relate to a lot of your viewers. And like, oh my God, look what he's
I
doing. He's not
don't
scared.
want to relate to them. I want to relate to muscle people.
Right.
I think that's all we've got for today. But Jimbo, thank you so much for coming on here. If any of you guys out there want to learn more about what you really should be doing in social media, you need to follow Jim McCarthy.
Thank you.